Good evening and welcome to the December 7th, 2023 meeting of the City of Highland Park Zoning Board of Appeals. Patrick, if we could get a roll call.
Member Trushansky?
Here.
Member Beck?
Here.
Member Yavlon?
Here.
Member Zaransky?
Here.
Member Hendrick?
Here.
Vice Chair Bay?
Here.
And Chair Collier.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Have my colleagues had an opportunity to review the minutes from the November 16th, 2023 meeting?
Indeed.
Yes.
If so, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the minutes as submitted.
I'll
Beck
second.
will second.
That was a motion by Vice Chair Bay with a second by Member Trushansky to adopt the minutes as approved. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Are there any abstentions?
Member Yavlin abstains.
Thank you. For the members of the public, we do have one item on the agenda this evening. Is there anything, if anyone wishes to speak on any land use issue other than what is on the agenda, now is your opportunity. Not seeing any. We have no old businesses. Our new business this evening is VAR-2023-00010. The property at 1429 Ferndale Avenue. The appellant is Barry Weinstein. Patrick, your presentation.
Okay. So yes, the application for 1429 Ferndale Avenue. The applicant is Barry Weinstein on behalf of owner Mark Greenbaum. The proposed is to construct a new attached garage that will encroach within the side yard setback. This property is located within the R6 zoning district and meets the minimum 7,260 square foot lot area. The existing home was built in 1953 according to the Lake County Assessor's Office. And again, the requested relief is to encroach within the required side yard setback of 6.1 feet by 1.25 feet along the southern side yard property line. Here's just a look at the 1429 Ferndale. It's located centrally within the R6 zoning district. And then just an aerial shot to get a little more detail on the property. So the plot of survey, the orange lines are the approximation of where the side yard setbacks are. In the R6 zoning district, the requirement for side yard setback is 25% of the lot width. The lot width is 60 feet, meaning that the total combined side yard would need to maintain 15 feet with a 6 foot minimum. As the property is 8.9 feet on the northern property line, they need 6.1 feet on the southern property line. Here are some existing photos to show where the proposed garage will be locating. It's just from the front, and more of a zoom in and from the rear yard. So this is a site plan for the proposed work. The property has a slight angle on the southern property line. It is not a perfect rectangle. So this slight angle makes it difficult to put in a square garage next to the property. Therefore, they're encroaching this 1.25 feet and for a total of 7.53 square feet. The applicant this is just a shot of the drawings and just kind of a total. The hashing is where the new garage will be located. The applicant also did put forward an alternative to show if they were to work with the side yard setback, they'd have this interestingly shaped garage. It is the same square footage, but it has a smaller door for the garage to go into, or for the cars to go into the garage. So other comments, there is a tree on the property that if the garage is approved, it will be coming down. Forestry doesn't have any comments with this. It'll just be picked up with the permitting process. They'll have to do tree mitigation through city code. And then building and engineering also did not have any comments. The property will have to maintain the proper draining and gradage per code. And we received no other public comments before the meeting. So again, the requested relief is to encroach within the side yard setback of 6.1 feet by 1.25 feet within the side yard setback. The board should be using Chapter 150 standards, and if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to.
Can you go back one slide? I thought the side yard setback was 6 feet even for
So-
a detached garage.
The 6 foot is the minimum it has to be for the zoning. Since it's a little difficult to see, but in the site, the Plata survey, the house is 8.9 feet away from the northern, and it has to maintain a 15 total between the two. So that's why it has to maintain 6.1 for this property.
Member Beck.
So how far back would they have to push the garage so that they wouldn't need a variance into the backyard? Would that violate the backyard coverage?
You can cover up to 30% of your required rear yard. I personally do not know that distance. I will have the applicant maybe field that question. But if pushed back, the only thing that they would have to contend with is the rear yard coverage.
Kind
Vice
of,
Chair Bay?
kind of a follow-up to that. If the lot line was not angled at the widest point, would the garage be able to fit without requiring a variance?
Yeah, if it was a rectangularly shaped, if it was a 90 degree at that angle, it would have been able to fit, yes. Because you'll notice here, it's just like just getting the corner. Like, it's just getting the corner right here. Up here is outside of the side yard setback. It's just this corner here that encroaches.
And it's just the total encroachment is 1.25 feet?
Yep, and the square footage of that is 7.5 square feet of the total area of the encroachment.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So are all the lots in this area like that? Because it's on a curve, I guess?
Yeah, it's got a curve, so it does affect a few of these properties. I mean, the GIS is not 100% accurate with how they're showing it, but there is slight angles because of the curve of the road.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Patrick? Not seeing any. Would the applicant like to, sir, if you'll come up? If you will provide your name and address for the record.
Sure. My name's Barry Weinstein. I'm the architect and builder, and my address is 1324 Barclay Lane in Deerfield, though I was a 41-year Highland Park resident before I
Okay.
downsized. Anyway,
One moment. Do you hereby affirm or attest that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'd like to address just a couple of issues. One of the issues that wasn't quite clarified is that we lose the tree regardless of whether we get the variance, because the tree happens, even at the angle, the tree's in the way. The question was asked about pushing the garage back. I want to answer that one. We certainly could put the garage in the back of the property with no variance. We don't need to ask for a variance for that. We're asking for the variance for this because we want to have an attached garage, and there is an existing doorway into like a mudroom that we're trying to attach the garage to the house. And that's the whole thing. And also, we did it in a very minimum way. It's just that we're trying to square out the wall so you get and this is just a minimum size two-car garage. You know, I'm not trying to stretch it. But it's just that the front is skinny and the wall would be cockeyed from the street and all this, and I just wanted to straighten it out, and I thought it was a very, not an attorney, but I've been told that it's called de minimis, what we're asking for.
Is that the door there that we see?
No, that's an existing addition. I'm sorry. That is the door on the, which was an existing addition, and yes, that is the mudroom. The door, the dark part is the door, and yes, we're literally going to attach it to cover up that completely, we're going to be in front of that. And yes, that is the door, which is right at the front of the garage. I mean, it's just sort of ideally located, to have an attached garage. That's why we're asking for the variance. Any other questions?
Member Hendrick.
Have the owners talked to the residents at 1423?
Well, we send out notices to everyone.
I was just curious if there's been a
Talk to 'em.
conversation.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I can't answer the question, but I mean, we did send out the notices. And as I said, it's a very small variance that we're asking for.
Are there any other questions for the applicant? Not seeing any. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to testify this evening on this application? Ma'am, if you'll come up. Yes, sir. If you'll provide your name and address for the record.
Certainly.
Margaret Credo, and
Kevin Credo, both residing at 1423 Ferndale.
Okay.
Thank you. Do you hereby affirm or attest that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
yes.
Thank you. The floor is yours.
We have a couple concerns about this.
Can you just turn the microphone down a little bit? Perfect.
Better?
Yes.
Okay. We did receive a certified letter from the applicant, but it wasn't addressed properly to us, so we didn't accept it. I suppose that was a notice to come to this meeting, but we didn't have any conversation with the applicant. One concern is drainage, the rainwater drainage from the new garage. We don't want that to be directed towards an area of their yard that would go right into our yard. Because we have plenty of water coming into our yard already, and that would be a bad thing for us. The other thing is I have a feeling of being encroached upon when something is going to propose to be built closer to our property than it really has to be. It seems like there are other options for building this garage that would satisfy the need without having to encroach on the side yard. What did I miss?
I was just going to say that I think it's an unusual and demonstrable hardship to qualify for the variance, and we weren't necessarily sure that having a two-car garage in this exact location necessarily represents a hardship. Does that need to be done this way, in a way that encroaches? Understanding that it's only a 1 foot and 7 square feet, we think those zoning laws are there for a reason, and perhaps there's another alternative that would be more appropriate.
I think that's it.
Nice
Thank
question.
you.
What was the error in the mailing that you saw in the notice? What was the error? I'm just curious.
It was sent to, I think it said Mr. and Mrs. F. Credo.
Okay. And that's not your name, or that's not the text?
That's our last name, but the F is not anybody.
Got it. Okay. Maybe a follow-up question for Patrick. What's the process? Is the city review the mailing before it goes out, or how does that?
Yeah, we send the list of whatever Lake County assessor has as the most latest tax
Got it.
record.
So that's
for
considered
natives.
proper notice, even though they found an error?
Yeah, yes, it was sent to the property, the name, I guess, so, was there never an F at the property, or was?
Was there what?
I just, sometimes Lake County isn't the most up-to-date. We tried our best to give the most accurate information, but sometimes it can be a year or two out of date, which could cause an issue here. I just don't know if that was related to the issue.
But if it was just a notice of the meeting, or, we knew from the sign in front of the property that, about finding out about the meeting, so Maybe Mr. Weinstein can tell me later what exactly was in that letter.
Are you more concerned with the encroachment being a foot closer to your property, or are you more concerned about the drainage or potential drainage issues?
I think
Probably
we're concerned about both.
Both, but probably the drainage more.
If you knew that the drainage issue was going to be dealt with, would that alleviate your objections to this, or you'd still object just based on it being too close?
I think I'd still object just based on it being too close.
Okay.
What is on your house? What's on that side of your house? Are there windows, for example?
There are windows facing our backyard, but not facing their house.
Okay.
When you said there were other alternatives to build the garage, where would you like to see the garage go?
I mean, one alternative is to build a narrower garage within the line.
That wouldn't affect the drainage, it would just affect, they could move it back a foot and not need the variance. Or foot and a
Right.
quarter.
That's true.
Member Zuransky.
What sort of drainage issues are you experiencing now? Just because in practice, it seems that a lot of times a construction project like this ends up correcting any sort of drainage that is currently, poor, as opposed to making it worse. So that's just why I'm curious what the situation is that's happening now that we can kind of be aware of, so maybe we can help facilitate that.
Well, we don't know where rainwater coming off the garage is going to go. Is it going to go into the side yard that's between our properties? Is it going to go backwards? That's one thing we want to make sure we brought up at this meeting, to ensure that we didn't have, all this rainwater coming onto our property from a garage that's closer than the zoning laws.
So if there's a gutter and a downspout going into the underground, into the sewage system, or the storm sewer, you'd be okay with it?
Yeah.
Perhaps the architect could address that, right?
Yeah.
To the architect?
Okay, so basically, we were concerned about that ourselves.
One moment, sir. We need you at a
To
microphone.
the microphone, please.
This is Mr. Weinstein.
Yes, okay. So basically, we have done a flat roof garage, which is attached to the addition, and we've made a slope on the roof so it goes to the addition. So all the water, there's no water that goes there. There's no gutters on that addition. The water rolls onto the existing house, period. And so we're not going to do anything that's going to create any water problem for you. Now, as far as the thing of a hardship, that has to do with that the property is cockeyed, and that the hardship is that it's nice to have a square garage. I mean, it isn't like you would be eliminating the garage if we didn't get this variance. The wall would still be there. It's just that you would be making us make it cockeyed. That's all I'm trying to do is like straighten it out and have a little bit more room for our garage door and for the garage. And it's only a minimal garage that we're asking for. We're not, it's not like I asked for a 24-foot garage. It's 20 feet. And it's even less because I included the wall of the house, which is about 6 inches. So I'm only asking for 19 feet, 6 inches, which is, you put a garage at the back of the house, it's 20 feet by 21. It's a normal garage. And, we're just not asking for that much. And, we're hoping that you'll have the approval. I'm sorry that you didn't accept that mail. I just, sent out what he sent me, and that's, so I'd appreciate it if you'd be happy with what we're doing, because we're concerned with the water, but also the city is concerned with the water too, because they don't let us just dump the water there. I mean, if I did put downspouts, they'd make me run it into the sewer. So we're hoping not to create any problems for you. And we're hoping.
For clarification about the water, you're intentionally sloping the roof away?
To the other part is a flat roof area too. We're dumping it onto the flat roof area
away
back
from the lot
addition.
line.
So it's gonna be away from their house,
And
yes.
those are already tied into the,
And those are, the downspouts are far away from there.
but are
yes.
they tied? into the-
No, they aren't. But they're way on the other side of the house. Yeah, I mean, they may, and in fact, they may require us, as we're building it, to tie those into the sewer. You know, but they're nowhere near, their house. And then also, there's a whole fence in between, isn't there? Between the two houses. So, I mean, I'm hoping you won't object. I mean, you came here to ask questions. I hope I answered your questions.
Okay,
Yes, anyone else have any questions?
I have a
I'm
question
sorry.
for you.
Sure.
Okay, the owner is Mark Greenbaum
Yes, and he's a Highland Park
of
resident.
974
Yeah.
Wildwood. Is
Yes.
Mr. Greenbaum going to be occupying this house?
No,
Is he-
no, he rents the house.
Okay, so,
Yes. But the thing is, I don't think that, I know that sometimes you don't like a person that owns the house that isn't living in it to get
Yes,
the variance,
but-
but the thing is, this is going to be something that's permanent for the house, and I'm just, hoping not to have to make a cockeyed wall, because, that's what we have to do if you don't give us the approval.
You can make a one-car garage, right?
100%, we would not do that. That's not, I mean.
gentlemen, we
Yes,
can't have
yes.
conversation
Yes,
between the
I'm
two
sorry.
of you.
Yes, no,
Okay.
no. I mean,
All
we're.
questions get addressed to the
Yeah,
chair.
Yeah.
and
No, we
then-
would do a cockeyed wall rather than make, I'm sorry, I'm the one talking though.
Yes.
Okay, may I say that? That I'm going to make a two-car garage regardless. That's what we're doing. I mean, it's going to be a skinny two-car garage, but we're hoping to make a regular two-car garage. That's the issue.
Does that allow Mr. Greenbaum to get more rent?
I assume so,
Than a
I mean,
one-car
yeah,
garage?
well, yeah.
Okay, well, there's a standard here, sir.
yes.
So I'm trying to
Yes.
find out
Sure.
whether or not the standards are being
Yeah,
met.
well, I hope so, sure.
Garage.
Sure.
Less rent than a square.
Well, we need a panel of realtors. Ma'am, you had your hand raised. Is there any other questions for Mr. Weinstein at the moment?
I don't really, we're the renters at this time.
If I could get you to come up to the, you may rent, but you are Highland Park residents, so.
I'm a Highland Park resident. My name is Olia Katz. My husband and I live there right now. We started living there last February, is it?
Okay, if I could get you, so your residence is 1429 Ferndale Avenue?
Yes.
Do you hereby affirm or attest that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Now you can speak.
Since we've moved in, we discussed the idea of a garage with Mark. Since then, my husband has been hit because he's parked on the street with $2,000 in damage. So it's not pleasant. The one-lane driveway is not very convenient, especially when we work at different hours of the day. So we really are looking forward to the idea of the garage. I want it to work for everybody. I don't want it to be an issue. I understand the architects are the ones that will be designing it, not us. But we are looking forward to it based on the inconvenience and issues that it has caused.
Thank you.
Yep.
Are there any questions for the, not seeing any? Nobody else wishes to speak this evening? So I will begin at my far right with Member Beck.
Well, I think the hardship is clear with the angled lot, and I think it's a minimal ask. So I think the standards have been met, and I'll vote in favor of it.
Thank you. Member Zervansky?
I agree. I think there certainly is a hardship with the lot. And if it means anything to the neighbors, I think that this garage, this two-car garage is getting built regardless. And I think forcing the applicant to build a garage that's, geometrically not as desirable is just a disservice to the neighborhood. And I think it's a reasonable ask, and I support the application.
Thank you. Member Hendrick?
I'm going to have to disagree with my colleagues. I will say I found myself on the fence on this. but some of the answers provided kind of pushed me over to the other side of the fence. We don't have a de minimis standard in Highland Park. We have these set of standards, and de minimis is not one of them, although we've advocated for such a standard. But most of all, to me, it felt a little confrontational of not speaking with the neighbors, and it feels like this could have been fleshed out with the neighbors beforehand. And I see other reasonable possible uses by pushing it back simply a foot. You can make it cockeyed, as you said. You said you're going to do it anyway. So I don't believe the burden of proof has been met for the standards, and I would not approve.
Thank you. Member Trushansky.
I think the standards have been met. Obviously, the property is shaped in an odd way, and I think that it is a minimal ask. So I would be in favor of it.
Thank you. Member Yablon.
I'm torn. I really am. Okay, sorry. I'm going to just put it out there. So number one, I appreciate that it's a 20-foot garage that's being requested, that someone didn't say, hey, we have to come in front of the zoning board anyway, let's make it, a 2.5-foot garage, or, 2.5-car garage, we're going to be there anyway, let's ask for as much as we can get. So I do appreciate that it was really a reasonable ask to begin with. And there is a hardship with the lot. And it's also, I'm sorry, you're hearing all my inside my head thoughts coming out. When you're dealing with a renter versus the owner, it creates a weird dynamic. So while I do think it's always better for someone to come and knock on your door and say, hey, just to let you know, this is what we're thinking about doing, and, we'd love your support, that does make a difference to the board as we sit here. But I also understand when it's a renter, that's a little awkward and weird to do. I don't know, the fact that you could still have the 2-car garage without the variance makes it less to meet the standard to me. So I'm sorry, you've heard me think everything out loud, and I apologize for not being more focused as I answer, but I do not believe the standards have been met. Sorry.
Vice Chair Bay.
I agree with my colleagues who actually would approve the variance. I think especially Member Zoransky made a valid point that to force you to build a garage, or to force a garage being built with a wall that is cockeyed, or it just would be the worst thing for the neighborhood. And I think, again, with the lot line being angled, and the fact that the ask has been made as small as possible to accomplish a realistic garage in that location, that obviously makes sense where it goes right into the mudroom. I think that's the appropriate place for it, and I would vote for the variance.
Thank you. I too am torn on this one. And I am torn because of the question of whether or not a reasonable return, if permitted, to be used only under the conditions allowed by the regulations of the zoning district. I believe that while this is a small ask, I have trouble getting over the first standard that faces us. Because I do not believe a hardship. The angle of the property creates a hardship, but that goes to one of the other standards. With regards to the physical surroundings and shape. So I can get that. I'm trying to, the first one is always more readily attained when it is a homeowner who is going to occupy the residence. My problem with this one is that it is a property, that it is an investment property. And I do believe a reasonable return can be made on this property with or without the garage. It's a matter of what that return is. Or whether or not it encroaches or not. So I am really personally torn on this one. Because there are other options of doing either a slightly smaller garage or placing the garage elsewhere. I mean, I lived 12 years in a house in Highland Park with a detached two-car plus garage. So I do know there are other alternatives from the, if you want the 1-car plus storage, you could do the 1.5 car size and make it and fit within the lines. And I do understand that a 19.6 wide 2-car garage is tight, unless you have 2 small cars. Sir, you obviously are trying to shoot your hand up. I'm not. Yeah, go right ahead. You are the applicant. Yes, sir. You've heard our concerns.
Yes, okay. So the main thing is I sort of not understanding the developer whatever thing, because this is a house that's going to be there now for 50 years, 100 years, I don't know. And so we're trying to not have a cockeyed wall. That's all. We're looking from the street. We're just trying to not to see that wall cockeyed and see it on the house. And as I said, the developer or person that lives there or whatever, it's the neighborhood. I'm not understanding why, I'm an architect, aesthetics, that's what I'm doing. And I've worked here for a really long time. We're trying to make something that's going to look good on the property and reflect the neighbors. It's not going to be, if they had to make that wall cockeyed. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, the property's cockeyed. It makes an issue about making a straight wall, which gives a little more room to the garage. And as far as the money, the 2-car garage is going to add value to the house. I mean, if he sells it, someone at some point is going to buy it and maybe live in it. The owner lives in Highland Park. He may be selling all his property. We don't know that, but this is something that's going to last for 50 years. I think we should have a straight wall. And I don't think that's unreasonable. And it was like we said, a little ask. So I mean, I don't know, the developer, owner, whatever. This is something that's going to be here for at least 50 years. I mean, because I've been working in Highland Park for 50 years, and I have things in Highland Park that haven't left. They're still here. I got houses, all kinds of things. So I don't even understand the developer thing, because it's a physical thing. A house, I believe it should have a straight wall.
Thank you. Ma'am, did you want to get up one last time? Then this will be our final comment.
I don't understand why Mr. Weinstein keeps saying that it has to be a cockeyed wall, because it doesn't. Because the front has to be narrower, it could be narrow all the way down and it would be straight. So, I mean, insisting that it has to be a cockeyed wall if you don't get the variance is not true as far as I can see. That's it.
Sir, no, we're not going to keep the going back and forth. Okay? You mean, Ma'am, did you want to say anything as the tenant? We'll need you at the microphone because it's being recorded.
Two comments. I know you mentioned tenants versus the owner. I understand I'm not going to be there forever, but we care about the property because we're the ones living in it now. I understand Mark is the investor. I don't look at it like that. I look at it as it's my home. And to us, it does matter. I mean, I just want a garage for 2 cars based on the situation. The driveway is very narrow. It doesn't allow 2 cars. So if you go on that street, there are a lot of cars on the street. That creates possibilities of accidents. Hence, we already experienced it within less than a year of us living there, and I'm trying to avoid that. That's why to us, as small as it sounds the garage is, for 2 cars, I feel like it's necessary for all the homes there.
Thank you. Member Hendrick.
So you keep mentioning the street and want to avoid your cars getting hit. Makes sense to me. I wouldn't want that either. But theoretically, you could push this garage back a couple feet, and it would be 2 cars. You could push it back some amount, and then it would fit in by right.
I'm not an architect, I'm just saying my points.
But wouldn't that alleviate your what you keep telling us? Because then you'd have a 2-car garage. It wouldn't be attached, but the cars would be off the street, and you'd have the size garage that you presumably need.
It would make sense for us. I don't know how it works with the house and with the property.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Weinstein.
So there's 2 other things. One is that you saw by the picture where the door to the mudroom is. The whole idea is to attach the garage to the mudroom. Not if you push it 2 feet back, the door will be, the wall will be in the middle of the door. If we push it 4 feet back, then the door won't be in the garage at all. The idea is we're trying to get the door to the mudroom in the garage. I mean, that's how you build 2-car garages. They walk into mudrooms in houses, and the mudroom happens to be right there. This is the other thing we're trying to do. The other thing is that we would build a cockeyed garage because when you get into the garage, you got a little more space then where the front doors of the cars are. That's the whole idea. We could live with a narrower front, but we, it's just going to look bad, And anyway, but the whole thing is to attach that you see in the picture, that black door. We're going to build in front of that. That black door walks right into their mudroom of the house. That's the whole idea. This is how you build 2-car garages. You do a 2-car garage and a mudroom. I've designed lots of houses. We don't push it back just to keep it out of there. You don't walk outside to do it. You walk into your garage, close your door, and you walk into your mudroom. This is what we're trying to do here.
I lived on Cavell Avenue, which is right by Ferndale, for 5 years. And the majority of houses in this area have detached garages for this exact reason, that it wouldn't fit within the zoning. So I don't agree with that. I lived in such a house that's in this neighborhood. So I don't agree.
Member Beck?
I have a question for Mr. Weinstein.
Sure.
Please. So you say when you build the garage, that mudroom door is in the middle of the garage?
No, the mudroom door, you see the mudroom door. You see that in the picture. Okay.
Where
And
is
it's literally, we're going to build the garage literally just in front of the mudroom door so that you can get out of your car. And it's on the plan also, so that you can walk right into the mudroom from the garage. That's part of the whole idea of the design of the garage, plus that it's a 2-car garage. And that plus we're trying to not make an odd garage for all the rest of the houses on the street. We're trying to do something that's going to look nice for the neighborhood and it's going to last, forever. Not
In other
forever,
words,
but 50 years,
the door
whatever.
will be in the garage. The mudroom door will be enclosed.
In the garage, yes,
Okay.
yes. And that's what we do. When we build a house, we put a door from the garage into the house. And so that's why we can't push it back. And yes, of course you could have a detached garages, but we're not asking for I don't need to come here for a detached garage. I need to come here because I'd like a little relief for doing the type of garage I'd like to do, which is a nice 2-car garage attached to the house with a doorway that goes directly into the mudroom.
So the point
Go ahead.
that you're forgetting
Yes.
is that this is what you want to do, but there are practicable alternatives.
Oh, there's
to
lots
what
of
you're doing.
alternatives. Yeah, you could
Right.
do a detached garage.
Well,
I'm asking
that's the
for,
standard you have to meet. There are no other practicable alternatives.
I don't think so. I'd say, it doesn't say in that.
You
No.
know, personally, I.
No, I'm asking for a two-car garage attached to the house. There are no other alternatives for a two-car garage attached to the house. Yes, there are alternatives for a garage. That's
Correct.
true.
Correct.
That's true.
Which don't need a variance from the zoning board.
That's true. And we were asking for a minimum variance so that we could build something that looks nice for the neighborhood. That's all. Nothing else.
Thank
And
you.
something that's going to last forever, because, I mean, the reason we would do a cockeyed garage, as I said, when you put the car in the garage, you got a lot more space at the front, because that's where you walk out of it as the driver. You know, that's the thing. So I need to have it cockeyed or straight. Those are the two choices. I'm not going to make a straight skinny garage, because there's going to be no room on the other side. That's, you know, so as a practically speaking, we like it, and as I said, I only asked for 19 feet 6 inches because I'm counting the wall of the house as part of a 20-foot garage. So, you know, I don't think like we said, it wasn't a big ask. It's just to try to make it look nice for the neighborhood, that's all. It's going to be right next to these people's houses, so it should be nice.
Thank you. Any other comments from my colleagues?
Chairman, it seems that.
Can you speak into the microphone?
Yes, I apologize. It seems that potentially members have changed where their heads are. Do we want to see where people are before
We can do that.
vote, so that,
I think there's only one that may have changed where his head's at.
yeah, but then-
Still on top of his body.
Well, I've gone from for this to being torn, so it's, but I'm actually leaning against it, so I think you
Okay,
don't
sir.
have the votes at this point.
So, with that, I will,
Can I just one question?
Yes.
Of the neighbors. Now that you've heard all the testimony and heard the plan, do you like it any better than you did when you walked in here, or are you still opposed to it?
I feel,
I can re-ask that.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly understand the concerns with, wanting to get off the street, but we still think, my personal feeling is it seems there's other options that don't require an alteration to the current zoning.
'Cause it seems to me that you're going to get a two-car attached garage to this house, regardless. It's either going to be square, or it's going to be cockeyed, and it's going to be 19 inches shorter. So out of those two options, which of those do you prefer? I'm just curious. I'm not trying to sway them, so I'm just wondering which of those serves you better.
I don't know what either of those would look like, so I don't know I can answer that question right now.
But the space between your houses is already small, so I understand not wanting it to be some amount small. I'm just curious, do you guys have a garage on your property?
We do not have a garage.
Okay. And would you say it's a fair statement that I made that a lot of the cars in the neighborhood or garages in the neighborhood are detached?
To be honest,
Okay.
I'm not familiar with how many are detached. Some houses have garages, some don't, some have carports.
Fair enough.
You know, it seems the diverse.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Would you agree, Member Kendrick, that it's preferable to have an attached garage that would, as far as convenience for the people who live there and the value of the house?
In the same way that I don't believe that when someone comes before us asking for a 3-car garage and we ask that it be minimal, I don't believe it has to be that way. I think there are alternatives. I lived it. There wasn't a problem with it. And especially if the primary concern that's been voiced is getting the car off the street, I see no reason why it can't be in the back where there's not a need for variation, and the zoning code is supposed to be interpreted in a way where if they can do it by right, they should do it by right.
So I have a follow-up for the neighbor real quick.
this is Member Trushansky, if you'll come back up, sir.
Is your objection more so that there are other alternatives that don't require a variance, or is your objection more so that it's closer to your property?
I don't know if it's a question of one being more or the other. I think both are valid objections in a sense, that the zoning regulations are there to preserve the space between the houses for light, for airflow, to provide space for yard maintenance and snow. So I don't think those should be changed necessarily without a good reason. But second of all, yes, we are also concerned of having a building that's closer to our property, that looms closer to our building.
Do you know whether yard maintenance, sunlight, airflow are going to be impacted at all if this were to be approved?
No, I don't. Would you like to add anything? I said no.
Okay. I guess I have a question for Mr. Weinstein. Okay, we have a number of ways we can proceed this evening. We can go ahead and, presumably one of my colleagues may make a motion to approve. You can sort of read the tea leaves here. So we generally ask the applicant if you would like us to proceed with the vote now, or would you like a continuance to come back at a later date certain so that you may provide us with additional information if you so wish?
Okay. All right, I could answer that question now?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, I want you to vote, but I do want to say one more thing, because in all the years that I've come before the committee, the purpose of your committee is to grant variances. That is the purpose. Your purpose is not to uphold the law, because that's written in the law itself. That's why we come before the committee, so that you can grant a variance. That's what you do. You grant variances. You don't uphold the law. The law is in the book. We follow it, and that's what we do. I've been doing this for a really long time, and that's what your job is, to grant the variances.
Our job, sir, is to evaluate.
Not uphold the law, though.
I did not say that,
Yes,
sir.
okay, yes.
If
go
I
ahead.
could continue,
Sure.
please.
Go ahead.
Our job here, as volunteer members and residents of Highland Park, is to weigh the evidence
Yes.
versus the standards required for granting a variance.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
That is our job.
Yes,
Whether or not
correct.
that is your term upholding the law or not, we have to weigh the evidence provided
Yes.
by the applicant.
Yes.
It is the burden of proof is
Yes.
on the applicant.
Yes.
Versus the standards that have been adopted by city council
Yes.
for granting a zoning code
Yes.
variance.
Yes.
And that is what we are doing this evening.
Yes, and I believe that we've answered all those questions, and we had written out and answered the questions regarding the variance and why there is a hardship, which has to do with the cockeyed lot. I mean, that's like a
And
key.
there are 7 other
Yes.
pieces, sir.
Yes, and we answered, we wrote a letter. I think, did someone
understand.
question what was in the letter? Okay, I don't know. All right, I'd like you to vote.
Okay.
Okay.
In that case, ma'am, we'd like to get moving.
Okay.
If we're going to deny, do we need to make a motion to deny?
I want to withdraw our objections.
Okay,
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you. So with that latest information, I will entertain a motion.
I would make a motion to adopt the variance approval order as submitted in the package.
I'll second it.
So that is a motion by Vice Chair Bay with a second by Member Zaransky to adopt the approval order as drafted. Patrick, when you have a chance, we'll take a roll call.
Okay, Member Trushansky,
Aye.
Member Beck,
Aye.
Member Yablon,
Nay.
Member Zaransky,
Aye.
Member Hendrick,
No.
Vice Chair Bay,
Aye.
and Chair Caulfield.
No.
Congratulations.
Patrick will follow up with you probably early next week. The variance has been granted. You're welcome.
I did want to add afterwards that the onus is on the owner, well, the onus is on the owner to make sure that the water is.
Yes, that is taken, there will, a drainage
They're
plan will be.
responsible for that
A drainage
disabled-
plan, yeah, a drainage plan will need to probably be, that's all part of the permitting process.
I'm a yo-yo. No, they can,
Patrick?
Thank you for coming.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.
Oh, love it.
The staff report.
Okay. So the rules and regulations, apologize, are not ready for this meeting. There was a few other last minute changes. I will be getting that to you next meeting though.
Thank you.
And now for the closed session meeting, minutes. Per section 2C21 of the Open Meeting Act, the chair can entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss the matter.
Thank you. With that, I will entertain a motion.
I would make a motion to go into a closed session.
Yes, I need a second.
I will, Member Yablon seconds the motion to go into closed session.
If we could get a roll call, Patrick.
Great, yeah. So, Member Trushansky,
Aye, or yes.
Member Beck,
aye.
Member Yablon,
Aye.
Member Zaransky,
Aye.
Member Hendrick,
Aye.
Vice Chair Bay,
Aye.
and Chair Cullen.
Aye. Okay, meeting, we are now into closed session. Councilmember Ross, you may sit in there if no one has objections, let's put it that way.
I'm not familiar with,
We need to go into closed session because every so often there is a time frame. We need to review minutes of closed session and determine whether or not they are still going to be maintain confidentiality or whether or not they can be made public.
and it's entirely up to you.
It is entirely, yes. So I personally don't mind if you're there, but
If,
I don't think she's going to be part of the discussion, so.
would the other commissioners care to weigh in?
I don't have any
I have
objection.
no objection.
No objection.
Okay. And I just,
That's fine.
Do we want to close the?
We're going into this room.
We're technically not adjourned yet.
and you go into closed.
Yes, I'll do another roll call to start the open meeting up again. So Member Trushansky,
Here.
Member Beck,
Here,
Member Yablon,
Here.
Member Zaransky.
Here.
Member Hendrick,
Here.
Vice Chair Bay,
Still here.
and Chair Collier.
Here.
Okay, great. So now, if the chair, if you could make a,
I will entertain a motion regarding the matter we discussed in closed session.
I would make a,
No, you go for it.
okay, I would make a motion to unseal that portion of the minutes and the material that was presented to us in closed session and make it part of the public record.
Member Hendrick would second that.
And we'll take a roll call.
Hendrick. Okay. Member Trushansky,
Aye.
Member Beck,
aye.
Member Yablon,
Aye.
Member Zaransky,
Aye.
Member Hendrick,
Aye.
Vice Chair Bay,
Aye.
and Chair Collier.
Aye.
Okay.
It has passed 7-0.
I will follow up with Corp Counsel.
Yes. And do what Corporation Counsel directs.
Yes.
I'm not going to open my mouth any further in fear I get in trouble.
Great. Staff has
anything-
nothing else.
Okay. Miscellaneous, and there was some banter about this earlier. I'll just let it be known that on the agenda for the next city council meeting, Member Zaransky, Member Hendrick are being reappointed. Member Yablon is up for vice chair, and Vice Chair Bay is up for chair, and I will go back to being a plain old member.
Did you move to the end?
No, because then I get called on first. That was posted in today's agenda packet for city council, so it is public.
May I say thank you for your service as chair?
2 years, right?
3 years as chair.
3 years?
They asked me to stay on an extra year when Nicole decided to leave. So,
Big shoes to fill, Chair.
no, they're only a size 8.5. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn unless anybody has anything else.
Brad asked an interesting question. Can anyone make a motion to go into closed session?
I think it's generally at the direction of chair.
Chair has to entertain the motion.
Chair has to entertain the motion.
Member Beck will make a motion to adjourn after the insightful.
What member,
Sorry,
Yablon?
Member Yablon has a question. What's it looking like for the next meeting?
First,
Yes.
we currently have 3 on the docket. It'll be the Heritage Tree case that we saw last time. They're still on pace. And then 2 other just variation cases.
What do we all look like as far as who's going to be able to be here? I'd rather give the applicants more notice if it looks
Sorry.
like we won't have a quorum.
Yeah.
I can be here.
What's the date of that meeting?
The
21st.
Just,
I can be here.
One unlikely. Okay, so it's,
I will not be here.
we're down 2.
Down to.
I believe I will be here.
Okay,
I should be able to be here.
okay.
That's 4.
That's 4, that's the quorum. If any of us early, if you find, minus death in the family or whatever, if change plans among those of us who think we're going to be here, let Patrick know as soon as possible so he can let the applicants have the courtesy.
In full disclosure, and that's part of why I brought it up, is that we are driving to Arizona, and if, I know, questionable thoughts, if we thought it would be fun, it's a road trip.
Oh, I may be doing one later, early next year, so trust me.
But depending on the weather, or if something happens, we might need to
Yep.
leave a little bit
Okay. that's
earlier.
fine. But there are 4 plus,
Okay.
you'd be 5, so that would, we're good on the
Okay,
balance at the moment. Okay, great,
just saying that out loud.
cool.
But
Well, thank you.
Supermajority if there's only 4 here.
Yeah, they need all of them.
They all 4?
Yes, becomes
would need all
unanimous.
Oh, wow.
That's, yeah. Okay, so
issue last, what was the?
Yeah.
it's,
That was the one across the 2 heritage trees that we
Yeah,
built. with-
Yeah, they're trying to build
And
like
the
a
screw
ranch.
garage.
like-
Yeah, got it.
review the minutes.
Okay.
Were they supposed to come today and they didn't?
No, they asked for the 21st.
Smart move.
So did we do a motion to adjourn?
We need a motion to adjourn.
We did, wasn't seconded.
Member Beck will make it a motion to adjourn.
Member Yaplon will second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 8:39 PM. Thank you all.